Hello and welcome back to Thomas's Biblical Book Reviews. Today we are talking about something extra special, as I have recently made an order for some new Bibles. And I thought today we would do our review of the first Bible. Now, this Bible here is going to be a little bit different because, as I've said in previous videos, I greatly prefer the King James Bible, but I think today is a good enough day to branch out and to see what other translations have to offer. So today we are going to be doing a review of the ESV large print personal size Bible. Now this Bible here is in genuine leather. Of course there are other options, including I believe a buffalo skin. But I decided to go for just the genuine leather in black because, I am on a bit of a budget. But nevertheless, it is quite the presentation here. We have this beautiful white box. It does come in a clamshell style box, and I thought this is the best way to introduce it. Here you can see what the Bible would look like. On the cover there's a picture of it. And let's see here. On the side we have large print personal size, English Standard, genuine leather. Crossway is the publisher here. Hopefully you can see that okay. On the back we have a list of features. Let's just get this lined up. There we go. So the first thing that will jump out at you, of course, will be the large print right here. This is a sample text. This is size 12 font. So, features of the ESV large print personal size Bible. The ESV large print personal size Bible features highly readable Bible text in a convenient format, combining 12-point type with line matching and quality materials. The ESV large print personal size Bible is perfect for all who want a readable and portable Bible that they can use in any setting. 12-point type, double column format, words of Christ in red, concordance, lifetime guarantee. About the ESV, the English Standard Version Bible is a great choice for personal reading and study, for private devotions and family prayers, and for teaching, preaching, and worship. An essentially literal translation, the ESV Bible combines word-for-word accuracy with readability, literary excellence, and depth of meaning. More than 100 of the world's leading Bible scholars and teachers were involved in creating the ESV Bible. Trusted worldwide, the ESV is a treasure for life. Other available editions. The ESV is published in a wide variety of editions, optimized for different purposes, including journaling, in-depth study, and outreach. Browse the full ESV Bible catalog at crossway.org/Bibles. ESV Digital Access. The full text of the ESV is available online and via mobile apps. Register for a free ESV.org account to access dozens of reading plans and devotionals, audio readings of the full Bible, study notes, and original language tools. Learn more at ESV.org. Okay, and on the other side we have the same large print personal size Bible, genuine leather, ESV. It's the same for both sides. On the top, it says the same thing, ESV, personal size, large print, genuine leather. And on the bottom, we have the ISBN. Is it the ISBN number? Okay, and I'm sure you are more than interested in seeing the Bible itself. So let's crack it open. from one side. And here we can see the beautiful grain of the leather here. And we will remove the Bible itself. And here we are. So, on the spine, you can see the gold lining and, well, gold imprinting of the words. We have Holy Bible, the ESV logo. Then we have, what's that say here, English Standard Version and Crossway. Now on the front and on the back and around the spine, there is a tooling line which goes all the way around. It is not a sewn line. That is just tooling. On the back here we have genuine leather with the ISBN number. I don't mind that so much. It's on the back. I don't really look at the back. I prefer to have a clean front anyway. Now the gilding is perfect on this. Gold gilding on the pages. Absolute mint condition here. Beautiful, beautiful. It's so nice to see brand new, beautiful art gilding on it, or gold gilding. I like how when you look at the Bible as so, you can see that the pages have been cut in a very pleasing way. The head and tail bands are unique for me at least, because they are gold and black. If you can see that, gold and black. Usually I see some other colors, but that is nice. You may have noticed, though, the one thing that might not please you so much is just one ribbon. Just a single black ribbon, not too thick. The end is very well done, though. Let's see if we can get that for you. Sorry, I'm not very good at this upside down stuff. Now, one thing that you might notice about this Bible is it is very large. I would say this is a very fair-sized Bible, probably the biggest Bible I have now. It is, I'll keep it this side, but here's my hand. It's rather large, and it certainly fits in the palm of my hand, but it takes up pretty much all of my palm. So it's essentially I'm just clasping my hands around it like this. Fingers on one side, thumb on the other. Very, very nice size. I think it feels good. But one thing that I do notice is just how big it is immediately taking out of the box. I think this is one big Bible. And to demonstrate it, I have a couple other Bibles. Now, this is the one that I previously reviewed. It is the Holman large print personal size New King James Bible. Let's see here. It is slightly longer. I'm going to show you some better pictures, of course, but it's slightly taller, I suppose I should say. And also thicker. And here we have my King James Bible from Trinitarian Bible Society. It does not claim to be a large print. It's, I would call it a personal size. But even just putting that, let's see, let's move this here. Just putting that here, and then you can see again, this one is even shorter than the personal size here, New King James, which is shorter again than the ESV. Not only that, but also it is much taller than the King James Bible. You can see in the picture that I'm showing you now, it is, I can't tell you exactly how much taller, but it is a hand and a foot, I suppose you could say. The page numbers are pretty incredible explanation, of course. It has a lot of pages. But first, let me just tell you about its font size compared to the others. Okay, so the Holman here is an 11.25 font. Personal size, it claims personal size, just like the ESV. The ESV is a 12. And the Trinitarian Bible Society here is a 9.6. So they're all what I would consider to be personal size. These two claim to be large print. The Trinitarian Bible Society King James Version does not. Even then, the ESV here has about 1,800 pages. The Holman, I believe it has just about 1,500, roughly. 1,550 we'll call it. This one here, the ESV, has 1,800 and some pages. And the King James Bible here, let's see, how many pages do we have here? About 1,400. So we're looking at a matter of hundreds here. So about 1,400, about 1,550, and about 1,850. Now another thing to tell you before I get too ahead of myself is the smell of the Bible. This is genuine leather, but if you're hoping for a really leathery smell, you might be slightly disappointed because it does not smell amazing. It smells very unique, but I would not call that a very leathery smell. When I got the Trinitarian, let's move that there. When I got the Trinitarian Bible Society Bible, it was overpoweringly leathery. This one here will not give you that, but from this distance I can't even smell it compared to the other, which was very strong. So it's not the most leathery smell, but it's also not a very penetrating smell. Now inside we have a paste down liner. It does not have the strengthening that I can tell. I don't think that it has the strengthening band here on this page, but I could be wrong. Just usually it's very obvious. Paste down liner, it's not the best because the crimpling is just so large on the side here. The crimping of the leather, of course, itself is quite good. There's no defects there, but of course the paste down liner has to go up and over that, and it is rather bulbous, but I could see that getting caught on something and pulling off or something of that sort. So that is not ideal. You can see there. I am gentle when I'm using the Bible, so I shouldn't have any problems, but I would be a bit worried about that. It's just the way it is. The leather here is so thick. Well, because of the crimpings. Anyway, it is not sewn at all. In the Bible, you'll see some are lined with a sewing stitch, which certainly would help in this situation. The other side, the back, not too bad. Similar problem right here. This is a little bit loose because it has to rise over the crimping. That's unfortunate, but it's not a deal breaker in any means, especially if you are not too rough. You know, I'm not the kind of guy who wants to bend it over. It's nice though, nice and springy, genuine leather, but of course not the most supple. If you want the supple stuff, you'll have to opt for something a little different. So inside we have some thick card paper here. This is the thickest piece here. This one is thick, but not quite as thick. I would say actually it's probably the paste down on top that makes it extra firm. but these would be good for writing in. This is a bit glossy. I'm sure that wouldn't have any effect on your writing, but it is a bit glossy. This one is not glossy, so this would be the best page for writing. These ones, I'm sure you could write on them. And then we have the another one, sorry. This is another slightly thick page. So we have two thicker pages with one very thick page, both white on each side. And then we get into the presentation page. As you can see, I have my name on there, and as I've seen in other Bible reviews, they write when they get it. And I like that idea a lot because I don't do that. So I'm going to start doing that. So February 8th, of course I'm not going to release this when the date here is. I'm probably going to release it in March. So I hope you don't mind, but I have a special plan anyway that I'll tell you more about in a future video. So, presentation page, marriage page, birth adoption page, and death page. Then we have just the crinkle page. I'm not entirely sure if this will be crinkled, but I always call the first page the crinkle page. Then we have Holy Bible, English Standard Edition, containing the Old and New Testament by Crossway. Here we have the copyright page, good information. It is printed in China. That's not a problem for me, but for some it may be, depending. Table of content, we have the preface, explanation of features, the Old Testament, the New Testament, table of weights and measurement, and then the concordance. And then we have the books of the Bible in alphabetical order. That's not important for me, but for some it may be. We have the preface, which is very good reading. I always like to read that. Basically a letter from the editor to you about the Bible. So quite interesting. And then we have explanation of features included in this edition. We have section headings, textual footnotes, and then types of textual footnotes include alternative translations, explanation of Greek and Hebrew, other explanatory notes, and technical translation notes. And then we have cross-reference footnote. Now, getting into the Bible itself here, after the features, we immediately get into the Bible itself. So we begin with the Old Testament. As usual, Old Testament, blank page, and then starting on the right-hand side, we have the beginning of Genesis here. Now, the font size is incredibly large, in a good way, and very readable. We do have subject headings here. So chapter 1 here we have the creation of the world, and we will touch more on that, of course. But the font itself is quite readable, and at the bottom here we have just some footnotes. So let's see if we can get an example. Now it can seem a little bit confusing in a sense because here we have chapter 1 verse 1, right? And the verses are bold numbers, except for, of course, verse 1. So verse 2, we have a bold number. And down here it will say a number 1, and it will say or canopy. Now don't get that confused with verse 1, because the footnote numbers are also numbers, but they are a lighter color. So we can find the footnote 1, and it says here, and God said, let there be an expanse. Here it says expanse or, number 1, or a canopy. So the footnote 1 is here, and verse 1 is here. So when you're looking for the footnotes, don't look at the verse number, just look for that footnote number, which is a lighter color than the verse number. It's light enough for you to not get them confused, of course. So footnote 1, or a canopy, and then it says here, also verses 7, 8, 14, 15, 17, 20. So it's saying in these verses, this is the alternative word as well. Now, in terms of references, I would not call that a reference necessarily. I don't like reference Bibles too much, which is one reason I bought this Bible, was because it's not a reference Bible. It may have some references in it, but it keeps them out of the way where I can not be distracted by them, because when I read the Bible, I want to read the Bible, not necessarily go on a reference adventure. There's things like the Chain Reference Bible for that sort of thing, and it does it leagues ahead of other Bibles. So when I want to read the Bible, I want it to be as reference-free as possible. This sort of thing, I don't mind it too much, because it just is giving you something new, but it's not trying to take you on an adventure. One thing you'll notice is, of course, it is not verse by verse, which I mean to say is that each verse starts in the extreme left-hand side of the page, and there would be lots of gaps and spaces as each verse starts anew. This is more free-flowing, makes it easier to read, but one thing you will notice is that, and I like it because it makes it special, is that it does do verse by verse in situations like song, in situations like prophecy, direct prophecy, of course, and poetry. So we're going to skip ahead to Exodus. That is where I see the first example of songs when we had, let's see here, almost there. Here we are. So the songs of Moses here, you can see we go from more free-flowing paragraph format to verse by verse in the Song of Moses. And then, of course, when it's over, then we go back to more paragraph-based. Same thing in Job. We're going to jump to Job here. Let's see, I want to be rather tender with the Bible because I haven't even begun to break it in. We're essentially going through it together. But I don't mind. Here, getting into Job, and you will see, Job begins paragraph by paragraph. That's when it's telling you about him getting into that situation, which the bulk of that book is about. And then as soon as we get here to chapter 3, it goes from paragraph to verse by verse, which is, I like how it does that. Of course, Psalms is the same. Let's see here. So we have Psalms, verse by verse, and Proverbs should be the same. Here we are. Proverbs is the same, verse by verse. So we're going to jump over to Malachi now. And yes, I do know where it is. Oh wow, that was a great thumbing I've done there. So Malachi here, the end of Malachi, and then we have this New Testament page, and then of course blank page on the left, book begins on the right. And it is my favorite way, the Gospel according to Matthew. This is a red letter edition, so we will jump over to the red letters. And it is not too light. It is a rather dark red. It's not the darkest red, but it's darker than I would imagine. Some other Bibles, of course, are lighter red. Let me just pull up the New King James and we can compare, because the New King James is a much lighter red than this, I would say. You may have different opinions here. So we're in Matthew here, 5. Let's see, here we are. There we go. So Matthew 5 here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I would say that this is more of a purplish red. It has seemingly a more purple color. This is almost more like an orange red. So I'm not sure if you can pick that up okay, but I would say that is a difference. And what I mean, of course, if you're not watching necessarily, but maybe more listening, is that the ESV is the purple red, and the New King James I showed you from Holman is more of an orange red. Now we're going to jump to Revelation. Here we are, and we like to jump to the end, of course, as we do. So Revelation, the end here, and leaves a blank space. On the next page, blank page, weights and measures. This is not what I would call the most important information in the world, but I love having stuff like this in the Bible as opposed to not having it, because I just think that the more the merrier. They can add everything into it and I'd be happy. I'm sorry if there's a lot of interrupting noises. It is a bit loud, I would say, here. So after the weights and measures, it's not very long, it's one page, we have the concordance. Now, the concordance here is essentially just saying that there's not enough space in this Bible for an exhaustive concordance. So it's just saying that we're very careful with the words that we're choosing. The concordance itself is not very long. It starts on page 1880 and it goes to, I mean, it's not short, but it's not very long. It goes to 1936. So it's, what is that, 56 pages? Well, actually 881, because here we have the abbreviations, which you will find in the concordance. It's pretty good. The font size is much smaller in the concordance by probably a few points at least. At the back of the Bible, we have on page 1936, we have some blank card paper essentially. It's a bit shiny. Again, not the best for writing, but I'm sure you can write on it. We have here 4 sheets, so that's 8 pages plus a end sheet, which is unlaminated paper here. So this is good for writing too. And then of course here we have our black paste down liner. So there's space in here for some notes. It's not going to be a note-taker's Bible by any means, but you can write down some stuff there, especially for if you were to use it for outdoor preaching. You could have some good battle plans in here in case there's some common questions that you come across, that you can just write down the scriptures to those questions and say, here's where to go. Unfortunately, no maps, and that is pretty sad because I love maps. Maps are my favorite tool in a Bible. That is essentially the conclusion of my review of the English Standard Version by Crossway, a large print, personal size, genuine leather edition. It's just the basics here, and that's the thing about it, is that it doesn't have too much excess, and yet it's still quite hefty, you could say. I do look forward to using it, reading it, and of course enjoying it. And this is going to be my my big reader for the year. I do have a very special plan for it, but I won't tell you now. But just in case I fail miserably, and then I don't make myself look too bad. But I do want to use this for my big readings. This is going to be my daily driver, which will be good. So I'll tell you how it goes, and look forward to the next video, which should not be too much longer after this video, as in it won't be 8 months, hopefully. I'm looking more at like a video every couple months, and I'm going to probably branch out a bit. So I hope you enjoyed this video review of the English Standard Version by Crossway in genuine leather, large print, personal size. And until next time, I'll say thank you very much for joining me for this review, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.